Hey beautiful people, I'm Jennifer Kenny. This video is about how can managers encourage innovation. Bottom line on this one is give your team permission to offer, not just to execute. Do you want your team to innovate but they're stuck waiting for permission? Do you feel like you're the only one trying to innovate and suggest improvements and changes? This video is about how managers create innovation from within their team. By the end of this video, I want you to be able to understand how to not have people sitting around waiting for permission and how to really build innovation capacity within your team. We get so deeply stuck in execution and our calendars are so full of all the meetings that we need to have, and we seem to keep layering more on, that what we end up doing is we end up just running faster and faster and faster. And we put the people below us, the people who report to us, in a position where by the time they get to the finish line at the end of the day, they're so burnt out and so exhausted that being able to think about how to do things more effectively or how to do things better or how to connect with each other in a more powerful way, they don't have bandwidth for it. They don't have time for it. Now, a lot of the work that we do at the moment and a lot of the work that we consider to be important is this speed. It's this noise. A lot of it is associated with breakdowns. A lot of it is associated with an execution layer inside our companies that's not necessarily working very effectively. When we recognize what's not working effectively and we start seeing the execution layer that I talk about in my book, The Innovation Mindset, we start seeing the execution layer. We start recognizing that breakdowns and miscommunications and miscoordinations and lack of trust and lack of offer-making capacity or understanding is actually what's producing a lot of the busy work and the noise in the system. We've gotten to the place in a lot of organizations where the noise is higher than the signal. You're in a position to be able to change that. As a leader and as a manager, you're in a position to be able to change that. So let's talk about how you go about doing that. Lots of us manage by oversight, by making sure that people are doing what it is that we have told them to do. If that is how you manage, take a step back and see whether or not it wouldn't be much more valuable for you, instead of asking people for just status updates, ask them for their thinking behind how they think they can improve things. So they can certainly give you a status update on what it is that's going on with their project or with the work that they're doing. But as a leader, as a manager, there's something incredibly valuable that you can do after they've done that. You can ask them what they think they can do about it. So if their status is, I've got 3 things that are on fire, I've got 2 things that are on time and working reasonably well, I've got a couple of things that are in the middle ground, ask them what they think is working well, what they think is not working well. Now, they don't have to necessarily take action on that. What you're doing is you're beginning to cultivate in them the ability to be able to observe what's not working, the ability to be able to think in terms of how they would solve this particular problem that is causing the delays or causing the overruns. As they go through that process, you're in a position to be able to help them see. So for example, they're giving you a status update. There are 3 things on their status that are on fire in red in their status update. And you see that it is potentially due to a breakdown with an external customer who's external to your team but still inside your company. You ask them why they think these things are delayed, and they will probably get really uncomfortable and offer you a whole bunch of excuses for it. But the next question then is, if you wanted to solve this as a problem in relation to the customer that you're working with, how do you think you might go about it? What you're doing in there is you're trying to create a space for them to be able to step up and make an offer to solve something that is systemic in terms of the relationship that they have with the customer. Now, you've got to be really careful with this line of questioning, because if you're doing blame and shame, they're going to shut down. You're not going to get anything out of them. But if you're encouraging them to be able to think for themselves as to how it is they might go about solving a problem, that they, much more likely than you, know what the systemic underlying problem is, then you're also encouraging them to make an offer to you to go and solve this problem. So the offer might look something like, I'm working with so-and-so in another department. They're late in getting us all of the information that we need in order to be able to progress with this work that we're doing. I don't know how to do anything other than what I've done, which is I've asked them to fix this multiple times. They just don't seem to be able to do it. They're now upset with us. We're upset with them. They're delaying this. This is the underlying problem. You as a manager or you as a leader have an opportunity to step in here and to bring that person and your own person into a conversation where you look at how you improve the coordination between them. You look at how you renegotiate the commitments that you've made for them, and you help your person see how to be able to go about solving that problem from the perspective of human coordination, from the perspective of something that is generative of human innovation. We're all running so fast and we've all got such incredibly packed calendars and we're all trying to make all this stuff happen that lots of times we sacrifice speed for quality. Help your team understand that the quality of the design that they do before they ever make a commitment to a customer, both within your team or an internal customer within your company, as they rush to deliver and they rush to try and fit things in, they're missing the conversations that allow them to really be able to explore and understand what is going to satisfy the customer, what I refer to as the conditions of satisfaction. As you do this work with them and trying to encourage innovation, what you're also trying to do is you're trying to show them how to be able to build trust, how to be able to set themselves up for success, how to be able to approach their customers with new ways of engaging with them and new ways of working with them. One of the best ways that you can possibly do that is to help them understand how to spend time in the first quadrant of the loop that I'm showing you here, how to spend time in that first quadrant in a way that they are doing real development and ultimately second quadrant, real design with their customer, or real negotiations with their customer. That work will save them a lot of time in the performance phase of the work. If you do good work and good design there, it's usually 10x difference between the amount of time that you spend trashing around and trying to make stuff work when you don't really know what it is that you're doing, or you don't really know what the standards are, what the metrics are, what success really looks like. It's very valuable to be able to help your people understand how to be able to declare breakdowns with you. So you're the safe space as the manager. When they see stuff beginning to go off the rails, or they see stuff that has completely gone off the rails, a lot of time what more junior people will do is they will try and fix it themselves, or they will hide it. If you really want to be able to build a relationship of trust with them and really create an environment where you can cultivate innovation and encourage them to innovate and encourage them to think for themselves, one of the things that you're looking to do is to be able to help them declare breakdowns. And it has multiple different impacts which are really valuable. Is one, they build a level of trust with you that they can actually ask for help and tell you when things aren't working. And they can also come back not just with an ask for help, but an offer of what they think that they could do to begin to solve the problem. So if you take the example we talked about earlier, where one of your people is struggling with getting information from another department that's producing, a breakdown or a red in their status updates, they're the ones who really know how to solve that problem. Once you start digging in underneath it, they're the ones who are going to make the offer to help solve it. You're the one who's going to host the meeting to help them make sure that they get that over the finish line. In this particular circumstance, they're able to declare a breakdown with you. You've got to be that safe space, that person who they can declare breakdowns with. The next thing that's going to happen is they're going to start seeing breakdowns happen more frequently. This is a good thing. They're also going to start anticipating breakdowns. As you start cleaning up that process and as you start helping people declare breakdowns, they're going to start taking stuff off their own plates and taking stuff off their customers' plates and taking stuff off your plate. Once you get that cycle going, you're actually creating space for people to think. You're creating space for people to innovate. You're creating space for people to listen. And they're going to start asking themselves different questions. Now, the cool thing about being a manager is that you're the person who's got to role model all of this. So as you start seeing breakdowns happening within your team, you're also going to start seeing breakdowns happen with your own customers. Get smart about that. get to the point where you're actually learning how to be able to have those conversations yourself so that you can help your people do the same thing. The last thing that I want you to really pay attention to is the idea of co-invention or co-creation, mostly co-invention or designing together. Allow yourself to be surprised by what your people come up with. Every single time I've done this with one of the teams that I've led, I've been consistently surprised and delighted. People come up with stuff that looks like it's coming completely out of left field, but it is stuff that you would never have thought of yourself. You're the manager. That doesn't mean that you're the same as every single person on your team. Your team are going to come up with wild and crazy stuff that if you allow yourself room to breathe, if you allow yourself patience, if you remove judgment a little bit, you're going to be able to start steering some of those offers or some of those ideas or some of those early stage innovations into something that can be really valuable for your team. Make sure that you're the one who's modeling this co-invention that is so important, and that you are allowing room for people to be able to design with you and co-invent with you and play with you in terms of understanding how to really be able to pull out some brilliant ideas that you can put into execution. Managers are really critical for encouraging innovation at the early stages of people learning how to really be able to think for themselves and be innovative. If you're asking this question, you're a really important part of the solution. I absolutely encourage you to continue down this path and continue to build your own innovation capacity. I've written a book on it, which is called The Innovation Mindset. That's absolutely worth a look. So are a number of other videos on this channel. There's one in particular that I think will help you right now, which is called How to Encourage Innovation in a Team. Have a look at that. Let me know if that helps you. Let me know how this works for you. Drop something for me in the comments. And you're on a very important journey. I want to be here to encourage you and support you. And I will be dropping more videos on this topic in the future. Take care, and I wish you the very best of luck.